Hello, my name's Ethan. Make sure to check out my website, ethanwrenn.com. From there you can find links to all my various socials. As you can see here, I have a blog on my website. Go to ethanwrenn.com, click the blog button at the top right-hand corner, and you'll be presented with a bunch of different articles, whether it be about gaming, investing, technology. I write about a plethora of topics, so I'm sure something on there you might find valuable. As you scroll through, you're able to see more in-depth information about a lot of the symbols and products we cover here on this channel. Every blog post has its own unique video that coincides with the content. And then at the very bottom, you are even able to leave a comment. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you didn't like, how I can improve. I'd really appreciate any feedback you guys would like to leave. At the bottom right-hand corner of every page, you're going to see a Discord icon. If you click it, you're basically able to view my Discord in its entirety without downloading anything, without making an account. If you click this button, you can sift through all the various channels. And it's a great way to kind of see what it is we're talking about in any given week or time period. If you see an image you find interesting, click on it. Click Open Original. It'll open the full-size image in a new tab, so you're more able to clearly see it. That can be extra useful if you're trying to look at charts with a bunch of tiny text on it. Here's my YouTube channel, guys. I'd really appreciate if you guys go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, there's a playlist tab. You click it. It's a great way to view and find what it is you're looking for out of my 752 videos that I've made here on this platform. Again, if you're looking for specifically information about commodities, Forex, ETFs, or maybe stock analysis, this is a great way to find that information in an organized manner. So, the next product we're going to be covering today is the XLP. What is XLP? You've heard me talk about the XL series of ETFs all the time, guys. We're constantly talking about the XL series of ETFs. These are sectoral ETFs here in the United States, whether it be XLK, which is technology, or XLU, which is utilities. This is the XLP. This is consumer staples. So, XLP is the SPDR Select Sector Fund Consumer Staples. Again, brought to you by iShares, I believe. What are some of the things that I find valuable about XLP and consumer staples? Well, let's talk about this fund specifically. As you can see on the right-hand side, XLP has a dividend yield of 2.69%, which is above average. This is a relatively good dividend yield for a sectoral ETF, with the S&P offering things like 1.4 and QQQ offering something like 0.8. So this is, again, right about double to triple some of those aforementioned. Now, on a technical level, what is something I like about this specific product? Well, if you come look at the symbol here, we have XLP. Right next to it, there's a W. That means every candle here represents 1 week of time. 1 week of time. It's important to keep in mind your time frames to have a general idea of how long it's going to take for some of these cycles to play out. If you look here at the RSI, this is an indicator we use on every channel or every video and every company we cover here on this channel. The RSI is currently oversold, nearing that 30. Now, when the RSI is oversold, nearing that 30, is typically a sign that it's a good time to be allocating money into that product, that sector, that company. When the RSI is high in the sky, for example, like when it was here in January 2022, it's typically a sign that it's overvalued, or potentially it's not a good time to be allocating money into that sector. Now, while a lot of markets throughout that 2022 time period had these major pullbacks, what I find interesting about the consumer staples sector is while the S&P might have peaked here and pulled back significantly, the XLP, being a more defensive sector, instead moved sideways during this time period. So you would have not lost much value had you invested in this company 5 years ago and just held it through 2022, where a lot of other funds, a lot of other countries lost substantial value. So again, if you're looking for something that's a little bit more consistent, maybe it's a lower beta, consumer staples can provide that for you. Maybe you're in the later years of your investing cycle and you want something a little bit more consistent and stable. You're not going for the crazy big swings. Again, consumer staples can help provide that to you. So the last time that the RSI was as low as it is currently, it would be October 2022. RSI came down, touched that 30, proceeded to run as much as 16%. Pretty solid. A time prior to that would be March 2022. The RSI came down, touched that 30, and XLP proceeded to run as much as 59%. Prior to that, saw in 2018, saw the RSI come down, touch that 30, then it proceeded to run as much as 30% throughout this time period with a minor pullback halfway through. But again, pretty uninterrupted growth. Now, I know this chart's starting to get crazy the farther and farther back I go, so we're not going to go too much farther back, just because I've used this chart so much in the past. I can hide drawings here for a second. And as you can see, this chart has pretty linear growth over time, even through periods of pullback. The pullbacks on a symbol like XLP, representing the consumer staples sector, does not pull back that much. It's pretty uninterrupted growth. Again, 2022 was a really hard time period for a lot of different sectors and a lot of different countries. But even throughout 2022, this symbol, for the most part, maintained its value, right? It maintained its value. So it's old reliable, right? It's a very reliable, low beta, low standard deviation sector. What are some of the holdings for XLP? Some of the holdings, as you can see here, I pulled up the holdings for the XLP, and these are the top 10 holdings, which represent roughly 66.9% of the total assets. So as you can see, this fund holds Procter & Gamble, PepsiCo, Costco, Coca-Cola, Walmart, Philip Morris, Mondelez International Class A, Altria Group, Colgate, Target. So these are all symbols that are very familiar to a lot of you. Again, the consumer staples sector kind of gets comprised of a lot of these very blue chip, very household names that everyone's really familiar with. That's kind of how they kind of build these funds. They look at what people are really seeing a lot of value in, a lot of interest in, what's being talked about, and you kind of get these consumer staples funds. So this is a great fund because you probably are very familiar with all the companies on this list. You probably want to be involved in a lot of them because these companies have grown extremely well over the past 10 to 20 years. Like, again, Coca-Cola, Costco, Walmart are doing extremely well. Altria Group is a great dividend company. We have videos about a lot of these symbols on my YouTube channel, so I'd highly recommend going to watch those. And again, that's the holdings for XLP. What is our current projection for XLP? We are currently projecting a gain of as much as 27.57%, which is, again, very solid return for a fund. We like funds because they help you diversify your risk across a variety of different companies, and compared to just holding a singular company, which would subject you to a lot of the idiosyncratic risk of that one company, that firm-specific risk, right? So funds are great, for a great way for new or maybe novice investors to allocate their funds in a way that's diverse in a single click. We love ETFs here on this channel. And again, projecting a gain of as much as 27.57% alongside collecting that above average 2.69% dividend yield. What's not to like? It's pretty much everything I want to say about symbol XLP. We're going to be moving into our next symbol now.